Welcome to the Pop Docs Podcast. My name is Joseph. I am a doctor in degree only.
And I'm Deni, and I'm a doctor in name only, and we're diagnosing the state of pop culture.
We are the Pop Docs, and our clinic is now open. Welcome, listeners, to the fourth episode of the Pop Docs. I am Joseph, one half of the Pop Docs, joined, as always, by my sister, Deni, the other half of the Pop Docs. Deni, how are you doing today?
Hello, I am doing pretty well. We're about to talk about some really fun things, so I'm very, very stoked.
Yes. We've only done 4 of these, and half of them are now going to be themed episodes. The theme of today's episode is...
Brains.
That's right. It is not an anatomy episode. It is a zombie episode. Well in advance of October, well in advance of Halloween. And Deni, why are we doing a themed episode centered around
Brains?
That cracks me up. We are doing a themed episode around zombies and zombie apocalypse because of a recent announcement by one of my favorite places, Universal Orlando Resort. They are going to have a The Last of Us haunted house at Halloween Horror Nights, their Halloween event. And I am I love Halloween Horror Nights. I was about to call it HHN. We call it HHN for short. And I've always loved that event. I have a tattoo of it. I have a tattoo of HHN behind one of my right ears. And, I love the event, but also I love The Last of Us. I thought it was great. Although it looks like the haunted house will be more so based off of the game versus the show from the looks of what they've released so far. But still, I mean, the show was very, compatible to the game, sticking true to kind of the storylines and obviously making a few adjustments here and there. But overall, I think they're doing a great job. So I'm just very excited. And if you haven't watched The Last of Us or played the games, it is a zombie-based game and show. So that's what inspired the theme for this episode.
So you've never played the video games, correct?
I have not. No, I've heard of them in the past and kind of got a general synopsis of what occurs in the games, but I didn't really pay attention to it until the show itself came out, and then obviously I've watched the show.
It'll be interesting. I mean, I've never played the games myself. I watch the cinematics. That's usually what I do these days just to save time. It's like, I'm interested in the story to the extent there's a story in these games. I'm like, okay, someone's got to have uploaded them by now. And so I've watched both. I watched parts of the first one. I've watched, I think, all of the second one. Do you know what happens in the second video game?
No, I don't.
I won't spoil it.
I was about to say, maybe I'll keep it spoiler free and just enjoy it.
Well, that's, I guess, do you know, is the haunted house only for the first one? Or is it supposed to be like the universe of The Last of Us? 2 games. It's not a big universe, yet.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know whether or not they're going to include spoilers basically for people walking through?
I don't think so. I think it's going to be based off of the first game. They tend to do that with their haunted houses, mainly to avoid spoilers and stuff like that. Although sometimes occasionally they'll pop a little Easter egg in there that kind of hints towards the next season or a next game in this case. But for the most part, I understand it's just the first one.
This is probably going to mean nothing to you, but the Easter egg to include would be for the second game, a golf club or a set of golf clubs. Do you have any sense of what that refers to?
Nope, not at all.
Okay. Those listeners out there that know, they know. Do you think they're going to have scaracters? By the way, I always love that term, scaracters.
Oh yeah.
And I would love to have that on my resume. I think it'd be cool. It's a scaracter.
Me too. One day I want to do one day, but this is some insane working hours, so I've never done it. Maybe when I'm older one day and I have lots of free time to just do late night scary shifts.
Or just do like once. I don't know if you probably can't volunteer. I'm sure these are not volunteer positions. But that completely detracted me from what I was going to ask was, do you think they're going to have characters who are portraying like Joel and Ellie? Or do you think this is going to be just walking through and it's just a bunch of clickers and bloaters, I think, or another one? I don't know. There's like 4 or 5 types of zombies.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's definitely going to be a lot of just zombies because obviously that's the scary part of the game. So they'll be everywhere. But they always have some kind of representation of the characters. They never typically do, exactly lookalikes because they can't. So just legally, they can't be facially recognizable most of the times. So it's not like you're going to see Pedro Pascal lookalikes in the maze. That's just not what they don't allow that. So I mean, but there'll be character representations for sure.
I think in honor of the Mandalorian, they need to have Pedro Pascal record voice lines and then have this character amazing. Lip syncing, or just have someone in a helmet, and out of the helmet emerges Pedro Pascal's voice.
Mm-hmm. That would be amazing.
Apparently, he was
so cool.
Like never on set in season 3 of The Mandalorian. It was essentially all voice acting. Some stunt guy,
though. Like he wasn't even on set to like do most of it. I would be kind of bummed. I mean, easy work gig for him. Bravo.
It's easy paycheck.
Easy paycheck, and you get this iconic role where you don't even get to show your face really. So that's easy. But at the same time, you're like, oh, it's kind of a bummer. He missed out on like a lot of the big scenes and stuff.
And season 3 didn't have a lot of big scenes.
Well, I didn't watch.
I didn't watch season 3.
Neither of us watched it.
I've heard it did not have any great scenes, any big scenes. So I don't think we were missing a whole lot. We certainly weren't missing Pedro Pascal's face because it did not appear. I don't believe it for one frame of season 3.
Yeah.
I lost track of where it was, and we're completely off track now. I mean, here, hang on a second. Let me get us back on track.
Brains.
Oh yeah. We're back on track. We're back talking zombies.
Yes.
Yeah. So very excited for that haunted house, and you may actually convince me this year to go to Halloween Horror.
Woohoo!
So
I can't wait.
Yeah.
I love this event. No matter what they have at the event, it's just so much fun. It
really is a great experience.
Mm-hmm.
Some houses are better than others, obviously.
Sure.
But in honor of this announcement, essentially, for this themed episode, we have several different segments that we want to go through. Most of them, not all of them, as we'll see here in a moment, are zombie themed. But for the zombie themed ones, we are going to give our favorite and least favorite zombie films, maybe television shows, zombie media, if you will. We'll do a little bit of a ranking. We'll keep it kind of succinct, or at least we'll try to keep it succinct to the extent that you and I can keep anything succinct. You apparently have found a quiz that you will ask me questions, and you'll also answer them too. I have not seen the questions. I have heard the nature of some of the questions, but it all, I think, fundamentally stems from this dispute as to whether or not you or I would survive longer in a zombie apocalypse. And for whatever reason, there's never the third option where we both just survive.
Nope.
Or I guess both die. I don't know. I guess it's the other coin too. Neither of us survives. But apparently this quiz is going to illuminate that particular answer. And then we'll also have, as we always do, we'll talk about the books we're reading. And in lieu of a bookstore shout out, indie bookstore shout out in this episode, we actually did a zombie apocalypse escape room recently. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. Shout out the escape room. But before we get to those particular segments, we, as we always do, want to talk about the
brains
we found on the internet.
That's good. I like that.
So I'll go first, and this is really just, I know you're aware of this already, but this is to kind of get your thoughts, memorialize your thoughts on this. But speaking of IPs, as you just were, more news out of San Diego Comic-Con. Something you've mentioned several times now you're looking forward to going to and visiting. Several companies not going to be there, at least doing the big, I guess, Hall H presentations. I assume they're going to have some of their, some presence on the floor. And maybe, I don't know, activations or something.
Yeah.
But last I checked, the big ones announced recently were Marvel, Netflix, Sony, HBO, and Universal.
So
not
many.
going to be there, at least not in the presence that they have had in previous years. What are your thoughts on
Mhm.
that? Do you have any thoughts on that? Are you disappointed? What do you think is the rationale or the reason? Is this an outlier, or do you think this is going to become kind of the new normal, that these companies are not going to have these presences at SDCC anymore and have more kind of muted presences?
No, I think it's an outlier. I think it's a lot to do with obviously what's going on with the Writers Guild strike, and then the Actors Guild. I think that's right around the corner, right?
Coming up, yeah.
Coming up, yeah, yeah. So I think it's just like an outlier. I think a lot of companies just don't want to bank on that happening and, release all this potentially new content that's coming. But also, kind of looking at what shows have on the docket. I mean, last year HBO had a huge presence, but they were releasing House of the Dragon, and that's, season 2 isn't until next year, so they probably don't have anything to share for big things like that. So I think it also just kind of depends on the content that they have that's coming out. So I think it may just be like a weird in-between year for some also, that they may just not have big things to share at this time. I mean, I think Amazon Prime is still going, but, they had... Rings of Power last year. They don't have that this year. So I think it just kind of depends on what they deem worth, going for Hall H and stuff. So
They got better, though. They got Wheel of Time.
Exactly. I think Wheel of Time will be there. I think they'll do something for Wheel of Time. I mean, because that's coming out this fall.
I think they have to. I think they're going to release a trailer there.
Right.
A full trailer.
Yeah. I
Maybe
think that
2
would be
months,
smart.
roughly.
Mhm.
Actually, about a month and a couple weeks, I think. Maybe a month and a week before it debuts on September 1st.
Mhm.
So that would make sense, I think, to have a decent presence there. And I mean, the nice thing now for the companies that are going, they're going to have the spotlight.
Oh, yeah. Yes. There's always like one or two that are like the big presence, right? There's never just like big Marvel, big Star Wars, big HBO, big, like it's usually just 2, maybe 3 that have like big presence. They do an outdoor activation, they do Hall H, they do other multiple, they have big presence in exhibitor halls. There's only a couple that actually do all out, and it fluctuates every single year, kind of like what I said, depending on what they have coming out and stuff.
Yeah, and I've heard some have said that this is DC's chance now, because DC, supposedly Warner Brothers, is still, I believe, slated to have a Hall H presentation. Now Marvel's out of the way, and so now's their chance to shine, and they need to shine because the Flash apparently is not doing well at the box office.
Yeah, I saw that.
Many reasons why.
Sure.
But one of the reasons I've heard cited is because they've already announced basically all the upcoming movies are defunct until 2025 or whenever James Gunn's universe starts.
Right.
And so I think they do need some good press. I mean, Marvel does too, but I think you're right. Marvel probably doesn't have a whole lot in the tank to present at the moment, particularly with the writer's strike. But it would be an interesting kind of experiment, I think, to see, if this were to not be an outlet per se, but if this were to kind of become a thing for these studios, that they were going to either downsize at Comic-Con or just like Marvel, Star Wars, Netflix, they have like their own conventions now.
Sure.
Where
Brains.
Maybe that's a sign we need to move on. Maybe that's a sign that like the zombies are like, can we move this along, please? Thanks.
All right. Well, far be it from me to disagree with the gods there. Did you have something that you wanted to talk about with me? I just want to get your thoughts on that. Seeing how you are going to San Diego Comic-Con soon. So, so many interesting dynamics and events coming out well in advance of the actual convention.
Yeah. I have one really quick thing that I saw a couple of days ago, which I thought was hilarious because I used to have these. It's kind of along the vein of Neopets. Hold on, I gotta find where I put it. This one. Okay, here we go. Okay.
Some more omelet talk?
No, look, Furbies are coming back. Look how cute they are.
What do you mean coming back, though? I mean, they're just like releasing
making
new
a
ones?
comeback. They're releasing a new generation of Furbies, and they're the cutest things ever. $70.
Oh my god!
$70. They'll be at San Diego Comic-Con because look, it says major retailer starting July 15th. They'll have the Furbies at
Oh
The
my
Hasbro
God.
booth, produced by Hasbro, and they are so cute. I used to have Furby. I had a baby Furby, I had an adult Furby, and then I had a rare Japanese Furby that actually spoke Japanese, and it had little arms. I don't know
Are
if
you
you
going to
remember that.
be purchasing one of these new Furbies?
I don't know. I may get one for Lily, my daughter. I bet she'd love it. And it comes with like little commands like copycat and dance party and 600 phrases, jokes, and songs.
And
There's so much to
more.
discover.
I don't think 2 new dolls is really a comeback. I guess they're testing the waters again, dipping their
Yeah,
little
probably.
pastel colored toes.
Well, it looks like
back
they
into
light
the
up.
water.
They light up and like their ears light up and they have like a little gem on their forehead and stuff. So it looks cute. I just thought that was hilarious because it became very nostalgic. And I was just like, yep,
There's a lot of
Here we
things
go.
from our youth trying
going
to make
back
a
to our
comeback.
youth. Yeah.
Obviously, Neopets, yeah, Furbies. And I
Mhm.
actually just saw a trailer for a movie. I think it's going to be on Apple TV for that's telling the story of Beanie Babies and the Beanie Baby
Oh my
craze,
gosh.
with
Beanie
among others Zach Galifianakis and Elizabeth Banks. And so I don't know. This is a
Funny.
reflection that like we're old now. That they're all the old
I
stuff
think
from our youth is either making a comeback or they're making movies about the stuff
I think so
from our
because
youth.
I went shopping the other day and I was looking at jeans and the jeans, they had tags on them that said 90s fit. And I was like,
What does that mean? Was there a certain
Nin-
cut from the 90s or something? Or
so they look like mom jeans. They're so
Wow,
ugly.
wow.
They're like high waisted and like wide pant. Ugh. They're so gross. I don't think anybody looks
no, as a mother, should you be denigrating mom jeans?
Yes, because they're terrible.
Okay.
No one looks flattering in them, in my opinion. So yes,
Is that what Levi
I
thinks
diss
of
the
the
mom
90s?
jeans. So that's I just want to share that because that like took me back into a past life when I was younger and had little Furbies that
I will
terrified
say,
me.
If we were not doing this podcast, I don't think I would have ever heard about the Neopets and the Furby Renaissance,
shame.
refurbishment, Renaissance, reemergence, resurrection.
Refurbishment. Get
Furbies,
it?
resurrect what?
Refurbishment.
Oh my God.
Sorry.
That is clever. I'll give you that one. The refurbishment.
That should be a movie now, like a horror movie with little Furbies, like evil
Oh my
Furbies.
God. Can you imagine? That actually could work, I think. That could work.
It could actually, yeah, like the Critters. That was
The what? The Critters.
Have you ever
I've
seen
heard
that
of it.
Critters?
No.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm assuming it's a horror movie. Are they like little Furby-ish creatures?
They're like little furball like things.
That
And
would
they're-
do what? Eat you?
They're like evil little
Suffocate you?
furballs. They just kill you.
What? Do they have like arms?
They're like
and hands?
they're like yeah, they like eat you.
Oh, I'm
They're
gonna look
like
this up real
little furry
What is it called? Critters?
critter. Yeah, critters.
Looks like
It's
there's
from
a
the
sequel.
80s. Come on.
Oh my God. There were multiple. There were 5 of them. There was one that came out in 2019.
There's a lot of critters.
Critters Attack. There's Critters. Critters
Mhm.
2, the main course. Critters 3,
love
Critters
people who-
4, and Critters Attack. Why is only the second one the one with like a subtitle? It's
Because
so
they were
weird.
like, we don't need actual titles to them. Just give them numbers.
They kind of look like the poster from the first one looks like the creature from Where the Wild Things Are.
Oh, yeah, kind of like evil wild things. Yeah.
Let's see. I don't recognize Billy Zane. Billy Zane was in the original.
Billy.
Oh my God. Wow. Okay. Well, maybe, yeah. For October, I think we need to do like a series of horror-based and horror-themed episodes. So maybe we'll
Of
do like
course.
horror movie watches, which will annoy the absolute crap out of me because I hate horror movies. They annoy and frustrate me.
The shame.
But you know what? I would do it for the pod. I'd do it for the pod.
Do it for the
I'd sit
pod.
through them. But anyway, anything else? We've talked about the refurbishment.
No, that was it.
The great refurbishment of 2023.
Refurbishment.
Oh, well then, let's close this segment. That was
Brains.
we found on the internet. Okay. So here's to enter to start our segment about our favorite and least favorite zombie media. We'll just do zombie media.
Brains.
I'm having too much fun with the soundboard. I found all these sound effects and I'm gonna use the crap out of them. So this is our pseudo ranking segment for this particular episode. So I figure, why don't we just do a favorite, a least favorite, and then we got some time to talk about honorable mentions if we want to. And this is going to be across all types of media. So film, television, books, cosplay. I don't know. I don't know what the force of media there might be for zombies. Video games. Okay. That was
Video games, yeah.
dumb not to think of video games. So should we start with our least favorite?
Sure.
Do you have a least favorite to start us off with?
Yeah, you reminded me of it.
Oh, good.
when we were just talking about
you had blocked it out. You struck it
clearly,
from your memory, from
I
existence, and now it's back. Just like the Undead.
it so much because I like the approach of real scary zombie movies, true horror zombie movies, but then also the juxtaposition of doing like funny zombie movies and kind of poking fun at it. And the one that you reminded me of that I really just disliked and was unfortunate that I lost time in my life watching it was the Warm Bodies one. So bad. The thought of a zombie falling in love with a human and then he becomes like human because of the love.
All he needed was love.
He got in return, and then all the zombies start to kind of churn because they're discovering love. I was like, this is too much, and it doesn't make sense.
It's a reverse modern take on like Snow White.
Oh, so bad.
It was love that cured the curse.
It was just
not
good.
You don't like the
I don't
power
mind.
of love? I love love.
I thought the beginning was kind of interesting because you're like hearing the zombies' thoughts as he's just like walking around. He's like, this is so boring. All I do is walk around all day. And so that was kind of funny at first. It could get old really fast, but at first it was kind of interesting. But then I just can't get on board with zombies like falling in love and then turning human again. Stupid.
I only saw parts of it. My recollection though was too, they did have some like evil zombies that were impervious to love. Mm-hmm. Or they like decayed, right? So much or something that they were, because you had to have, I guess, bad zombies or some kind of villain.
You have to have some bad villain part of it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But it was still just not good.
Did you watch the whole thing? Did you actually get through the whole movie?
Unfortunately.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. But you did say you do like comedy, or at least not parodies.
I do like comedy. Yes.
If it's done well.
If it's done well and it's funny, like truly funny. And zombies are actually zombies.
What do you mean? Like they're chasing people, eating people?
Yes, they're zombies.
They're not like falling in love. So you don't. It's really the love angle here.
Yes, the loving.
You don't like the romantic comedy angle of.
It's like
bodies.
The vampires from Twilight who sparkle and are vegetarians. The sparkle.
Like that. That didn't do it for you.
No, that was
not
stupid.
Your not your vampires.
No, I can't get on board with that. Not my vampires whatsoever.
It does raise an interesting question. Like, because vampires presumably are undead.
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Zombies are undead. So these are qualitatively different categories of creatures.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So what is it? What? So clearly it's not their undeadness, their lack of life. Separates them. What differentiates vampires from zombies?
Well, I think
some vampires sparkle.
Well, yes, zombies don't sparkle.
Zombies
they just
do not
decay.
Sparkle.
They rot.
They just decay. Right, yes. They smell. They smell.
No,
bad.
I think it's the consciousness. Because right? Because
I would agree. Generally, I would agree. Yeah, that's
kind of like. I mean, in some films, they insinuate like zombies that become aware and have some kind of cognitive
self-aware zombies.
Well, like some kind of cognitive, presence,
mm-hmm.
which I guess is fine. It's like a mutation, maybe. But I mean, they're just. I think they're just different. I mean, it depends on the vampire too. Some vampires are more beast-like or like ancient kind of beast. Yeah. So I think they're kind of different genres of vampires and zombies, maybe. But
maybe it's like a spectrum or dimension where you can move closer to zombie or the vampire, and so it's one continuum. I don't know. I just thinking through these movies, it was a question that popped in my mind that I never really thought about before.
It's interesting.
Like, what makes them distinct? I don't know. I'm sure there isn't an answer, but I do have my least favorite film. I did not make it through Warm Bodies. Like I said, I think I saw bits and pieces, so that probably certainly be on my list. But talking about wasting time, and I should have known better because I'm not a big fan of this filmmaker. Army of the Dead, I thought was awful.
Okay.
Speaking of like pseudo sentient zombies, I don't know. Did you watch Army of the Dead? The Zack Snyder thing on Netflix that was fairly recent.
Oh wait, no, I did not. I was about to say, wait, does this film is no.
Yeah, Dave Bautista.
I have not watched this one.
Other people.
After
Dave Bautista. Oh, I think actually, you know who's in it. She plays his daughter, I believe, is one of the young women in Yellow Jackets.
Of course.
Speaking of zombie-like,
is that why you watched it?
She's good. And she's also the voice of one of the main characters in Arcane, another really great show based off League of Legends on Netflix as well. All better products, better media, better TV shows than Army of the Dead, which the premise was really dumb. The intro was kind of cool, I thought. The way they depicted the descent into zombieism in Las Vegas. But I should have just stopped watching after that. And a lot of it was because it's general Zack Snyderism. So I just cannot stand the slow motion nonsense. A lot of stuff felt like washed out. And it was also just like a hard watch. I don't know if you use shaky cam, but it felt kind of like watching a shaky cam kind of movie. And I thought the whole movie was kind of dumb. The premise was kind of dumb. So I want to put that as my least favorite zombie movie, and certainly that's probably some recency bias because I did see it fairly recently. It's probably one of the more recent zombie things I've watched. I guess we can do honorable mentions now too, because I also was going to say World War Z was kind of up there on my list. Do you see any of World War Z?
I've never even watched it. I had no interest in seeing it whatsoever.
Have you read the book?
No, but I've heard the book is actually pretty good, and that's what I've heard too. Yeah. Adaptation just didn't do it justice, like most movies that are based off books, but that's just me.
I don't know if this is true. I'd heard that the book was kind of trying to depict more of kind of the breakdown of society, civil society, government, world collaboration, and the like. And so, which sounds much more up my alley, coming back from kind of a political science background. Whereas the movie clearly just was like, we're going to make an action film and put Brad Pitt in there, and he's going to be like Superman. I mean, the thing is that he suffers and somehow keeps going. It's ridiculous in that movie. And so I think that was kind of where they went off the rails with it. So that one is definitely up there too. Barbie, do you have any honorable mentions for your least favorite?
For least favorite?
Zombie media?
Not really. They all kind of, after that, kind of blend together until my favorites.
I would throw too some of the later seasons of The Walking Dead and the Fear of the Walking Dead.
Oh, well, I guess Fear of the Walking Dead I did not enjoy whatsoever.
I love the first episode or two when they actually showed the
like
zombie
the
virus taking emerging. And that's one of the reasons why I think my favorite episode of The Last of Us was actually the first episode, in the first 20 minutes of the first episode. Because I think that's the most interesting part of zombie stories generally is how society falls apart and attempts to then rebuild. Because ultimately, I think a lot of these just descend, especially the shows, they just descend into basically the same context. Like, oh, we follow our group of survivors as they encounter another group of survivors who are evil or mean or nasty or cannibals. It seems like there's always cannibals that show up in zombie films. Cannibals who are not zombies themselves. So they're exhibiting zombie-like behavior. And, I'd actually would, I think, throw out, this is my last one before we move on our favorites, but I would actually kind of throw in Last of Us, the show, to this. Because it didn't seem like a zombie show to me. I think there's maybe 4 or 5 scenes with zombies. And I know that, I think it's more of a story about the dynamic between Ellie and Joel. But there weren't a whole lot of zombies in that movie, or in that show. There were a couple cool scenes sprinkled in there, but more or less it was just either their dynamic or it was all these side stories of the other kind of supporting cast, which I liked. I actually liked a lot of the supporting stories, but supporting characters and their stories better than I did Joel and Ellie. So I think they could have used more zombies in Last of Us. Maybe we'll get more. Maybe they didn't have the budget.
Zombies. Maybe.
The other reason too is I was frustrated because I actually loved their version of zombies because I thought it was an interesting take on zombies. That they're fungal based.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that they also can evolve and then they have the fungal network. And I thought that was all really, really cool and a real new take on zombies with real world analogs. Not to frighten anyone, but apparently there's fungi that does this to ants or something.
Sure does.
In the real world.
Zombie fungus. It's real.
Zombie fungus.
Zombie
Not
fungus.
my favorite fungus in media, by the way. My favorite fungus in media is from Super Mario Brothers. Trust the fungus.
Trust the fungus. But not this fungus. Not
Now
the Last of
you
Us.
don't want to trust this fungus.
Don't trust that fungus. That fungus kill you.
Stay away
Take over
from
your
the
body.
All right, well, you wanted to talk about your favorites. So
Yes, my favorites.
yeah, let's have your favorite.
Well, my favorite movie, ironically enough, is a Zack Snyder film. But I feel like it was like Zack Snyder before Zack Snyder.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of feel. It's the 2004 Dawn of the Dead, not the original, the 2004. I think it's because it was the first zombie movie that I watched like by myself and like willingly.
In the dark.
Like I rented the movie from Blockbuster and I was gonna watch it, and then I watched it and it was amazing. And I loved it so much. It was just super. That first like 10 minutes of it with the little girl zombie and they attacks them, and then you get to see like the downfall from the one woman's point of view, basically, and they end up in the mall. I just thought that was fascinating. And then seeing a group of humans from all different backgrounds trying to survive together in a mall was incredible to me. Like, I just thought that was fascinating to see the group dynamic and how they approached different things and how they fought and, you know, all that stuff. And there were some just really iconic scenes from there, like the woman who ends up giving birth, like turning into a zombie because she got bit, but she was pregnant, and so she gives birth to a zombie baby. But the dad, who wasn't infected, was like keeping her, you know, tied down and until she gave birth, basically. And then he went, you know, psychotic, you know, in his mind and wanted to keep the zombie baby, so then ended up shooting some of the other people to defend it. And it's just the interesting psychological.
That was really
dark.
dark.
It was really dark, but just the psychology, like what would happen, what would you do in those situations? You know, it's an apocalypse, everyone's dying, the world's ending, and it's just, what would you do? I don't know. It's just,
well, the ending,
just so good. I enjoyed it.
Speaking of dark,
I
think that the survivors succeeded in some sense.
Oh, I love that ending because you're like, oh, they made it.
Some of them made it, and then don't say through the credits. The credits are not part of my headcanon. My headcanon ended the boat.
And so I thought it was just for a zombie film, like just true zombie movie. I thought it was great. Didn't disappoint.
And I would agree with you there. And also, I haven't watched this in a long time, but I just referenced with the Army of the Dead, Zack Snyderisms, mainly like a lot of the slow motion nonsense that he does. Oh gosh, I can't stand that. I don't remember this film having any of that. So I think you're right. This is like Zack Snyder before he reached his final form.
Exactly.
It was pure Snyder.
It was very much like quick cuts, fast pace, like, especially with the zombies, because they were pretty fast moving zombies in the film. And so, you know, it had kind of that energy to it. And I don't remember a single slow motion frame from the film. So.
And I think you're right. I think one of the things that really works about this is because they're almost like kind of a bio episode on television where they're in one location for almost the entire movie, which allows you then to really become a character study of these people from different backgrounds, different ages, and how they handle these circumstances. It would definitely be high on my list. So I won't go there since you've already mentioned it. So I'll go with one that we were talking about actually before we started recording, which is Shaun of the Dead. I'm going to go into one of the zombie horror comedy of films. And that is just a really fun film. Part of, I forget what they call the trilogy of movies. Let's see here. Shaun of the Dead trilogy of movies. Because there's 3 of them. 3 flavors cornetto, apparently is what's referred to. Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and The World's End. And I love Shaun of the Dead and I love The World's End. I actually haven't made it all the way through Hot Fuzz. But that movie blended, I think, the comedy and horror really well, and did what Warm Bodies could not do. And there was also, I think, my first movie seeing Simon Pegg and Nick Craig.
yeah.
And Martin Freeman's in it in a very small bit role. And that movie is just an uproariously funny time. But also,
it is very good.
Doesn't lean into, like, I think, the cheesy. There is an undertone of seriousness. And
they're still trying to survive. There's like people still die. They're still trying to survive, but it's like humor is just weaved in there very well. Well done.
Yeah. And they suffer the consequences of their dumb decisions. And there are a lot of dumb decisions that are made.
Yeah.
It had kind of, it's funny, it had sort of a Mist-like ending from the movie Mist.
Yeah.
If you remember. You've seen Shaun of the Dead, right?
I have. It's been a long time, though. It was a very long time, and I've only seen it once.
Very similar end, in my opinion, to The Mist. And I don't want to spoil it for any. I
was about to say, don't spoil it if you haven't seen The Mist either.
Yeah.
Also a very good movie. I recommend The Mist.
Oh my gosh. Talk about a depressing, dark ending. Holy smokes. Did you read it's a short story, right?
It's a short story from Stephen King. Yes.
Did you read it?
I have. And the short story is very good, but the ending is very different. Complete opposite ending. And I actually prefer the movie
film version
versus the film version versus the book.
Did you watch they did a show a couple years ago now?
I never watched it.
Yeah, I didn't see it. Don't want to ruin the movie. Speaking of that is actually a horror movie I really did like.
It's well done.
Mainly because it doesn't fall into the same tropes that annoy the heck out of me. But that's for another day. Another episode before I go ranting about
that's for October.
Horror tropes. Yeah, I'll save it for Halloween. Our Halloween episodes. Any honorable mentions that you have?
Honorable mentions. I mean, I think, the first few seasons of The Walking Dead, of course, are phenomenal, in my opinion. I think they made, zombie TV shows and even just the genre kind of mainstream and made zombies interesting because it truly showed like the downfall. The characters that they showed were like real. They felt like real humans that you could relate to, just, Rick's journey and everything. And so I think The Walking Dead for sure just kind of elevated the zombie genre, if you will. And then just a complete, just different direction would be, and they're not even that great, are the Resident Evil films. However, I just like the idea of just the world that they created with it, from like the games to the films and everything. I just think it's a really interesting concept and kind of kitschy, but also kind of fun.
They're good movies that just turn your brain off. Speaking of brain.
Very true. That's a great way to put it. Yes.
Turn your
brains
off.
Yes.
Except, did you watch the most recent, I think it was Netflix television show? They got canceled, I think, pretty quickly.
No.
I tried. I couldn't even get through the first episode.
Yeah.
Partially because I had no idea what was going on. There's like timeline jumping in terms of like the narrative, and it's not people traveling through time, I don't think. But some of the movies are just, like I said, fun movies, action movies. Don't think too hard about them. Don't worry too hard. Yeah,
don't think about them too hard, and they're just kind of fun and different.
Are those?
And I also I've played. Which one did I played one before, and it was okay. I'm not a huge video game player though, even in past. But they. Speaking of Halloween Horror Nights, they had a Resident Evil house one year, which was really fun to go through. So I enjoyed that
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't you walk in, like, the first thing you see is, like, the soldiers or whatever on, like, the top of a car.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it was cool. Yeah, and they had, like, liquors and the liquors. I say liquors. It's one of the zombie types in Resident Evil that has, like, this giant, gross-looking tongue called liquors. And
you meant, like,
they
the
were
drinks
cool
they
to
would serve at
see.
Halloween Horror Nights.
No.
It's like liquors. That's what they call them.
Yeah, there were liquors, and then they also have, like, the zombie dogs. Resident Evil's known for like the zombie dogs, which is pretty cool and terrifying. So I don't know. I just think it's a fun action film. Also, big fan of, like strong female lead who kicks ass. So
Mila Jovovich.
always a good time. And yeah, I love Mila. Okay, I'm not even going to pronounce her name. Right, so
I think
just
that's
gonna stop there.
The closest I ever got to a Resident Evil game was the Conan O'Brien Clueless Gamer. There's our Conan plug. I'm gonna get a drop for our episode by episode Conan plugs. I had another one. Yes, I remember. This is I think a curveball.
Okay.
I don't think you'd ever expect me to say, but I actually liked the third Maze Runner movie.
Death.
Really?
Cure.
Huh,
Yeah.
Nah, not something I would have expected.
First
You're
movie,
right.
boring as all get out. Boring is watching paint dry, I guess. I don't know, watching grass grow. Couldn't stand it. Hated that one. Didn't see the second one, mainly because I would have had to pay for it in order to stream it. But the third one I streamed off of Amazon Prime or somewhere. And so it was free. And so I was like, I'll throw it on and see what happens. It has a little finger in it, which I thought was cool.
Mhm.
And I actually really enjoyed that movie.
Okay. I haven't seen it, so I'll have to put it on the list.
And it does feel like they kind of graduate out of the YA elements in that particular movie. I mean, the first one, you definitely see all of the YA tropes and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But that would actually get an honorable mention. Gus Fring is in it too.
Okay.
So there's a lot of like good actors in that movie, having fun in the roles. Some other actors too whose names escape the top of my mind at the moment. But I did, before we move on, I actually looked up for some reason, not why, inspiration struck, The Dawn of the Dead. So to bring us back real quickly, kind of full circle here, according to IMDb, and I did not know this, James Gunn was a writer on this film. The writers are George A. Romero and James Gunn.
Amazing. No wonder it's such a good movie.
He's everywhere. He's just everywhere.
Great writer. Great director before he became Zack Snyder.
Yep. And if you want to see a good
So
James Gunn
good.
movie, though, Slither.
Oh
Slither
my,
is the James
Slither
Gunn movie to
is,
see.
talk about, that's going to be a topic in our October episodes at some point, because Slither.
I'd rewatch that. I haven't watched that in a long time. That'd be a fun one to rewatch.
I have it on DVD. I'm ancient. Yes, I still have DVDs, people. Okay.
No, if you had a VHS, that would.
I don't have VHSs. I don't have a VHS anymore, but I have DVDs still. Yes. And I still occasionally buy them at the Goodwill for $1 if I find a really good movie that I'm like, oh my God, I haven't seen that in forever. I'll get it. And I have stacks on stacks of DVDs. I think it comes from having to work when I worked at Blockbuster.
Mm-hmm.
And I just never got rid of them because I still have like all of my old Blockbuster movies that I bought. And so it's just, nostalgic again. And I'm slightly a hoarder in that sense. I collect a lot of things. And
A lot of 90s talk.
old
and
DVDs
awesome.
are part of that.
All that's old is new again, goes the phrase. Anyway, we need to get to this pop quiz. So,
Okay.
Brains.
Okay, so we're both going to I'm going to answer all the questions at the same time. This is a BuzzFeed quiz, actually. And it's
my
just
God.
the simple question of, will you survive a zombie apocalypse? And it's a series of questions.
split into
that
what,
they
like
would
40?
ask. No, it's only like a few and they'll be fast.
Okay.
There's options. Okay, so
All right, give me the first one.
First one is, there's some kind of disease spreading, of course, and you're thinking about creating a team for survival purposes.
So I'm a survivalist here. I'm a prepper in this. Clearly, I'm or a conspiracy theorist. Like, oh, there's a disease spreading. It's got to be.
Oh my God, we
zombie.
gotta start collecting people. So it says, how
Bring the
many
bunkers,
people do you recruit? And the options are just me and my dog.
Whoa, I don't like this. Where's the cat? Can we put
Okay,
cat
well,
in
how
there?
about just you and insert
Your pet. Your pet of choice?
Yes, pet of choice. 1 to 3 people, 3 to 6 people, or 6 to 10 people.
Do I know these people? Am I choosing from people I know?
Yes, I think the idea is like you're choosing people that you want to bring into like your survival group.
So friends and family here,
Yes.
presumably,
Yes.
or capable people on the side of the road that don't look crazy.
Yes.
I would presume I would go the most. What was the biggest, the largest?
6 to 10.
I would do 6 to 10.
6 to 10. Okay. Hold on. Click.
What would you
6
do?
to 10. I did 3 to 6.
3 to 6.
And that basically just allots you, me, Rob, my daughter, and
You're
our
actually-
parents. And that's
You're
basically
giving it out. You're actually no friends. Sorry. Good luck.
Basically, yes. I'm just like, see you.
Family out of state. You're done.
Who could I truly trust in my group? And those are like the people that
no
I trust.
Facebook friends, no Instagram followers. No,
No, definitely not. No. Okay, so the next question is: so you're all teamed up. You got your group. What's
All right.
next? What are we doing next? Options: finding weapons, stock up on water and food, meet up your teammates. I don't know what that means. Really, aren't you
The grammar
already
doesn't
met
even
up?
work
Like
in that.
that's basically that's eliminated. Or shower and change your clothes.
That's an option.
Yeah.
And why are they presented as a mutually exclusive set of options here? Like I can't shower. I can't send out. I have 6 to 10 people. I can't send some people for water. Some people
Apparently
for weapons.
not. No, you have to do it all yourself.
Oh my goodness. And I don't know this is a zombie plague. There's just reports of a plague coming or something.
Correct. It's just like a disease is spreading. There's rumors, that kind of
Get
stuff.
the weapons.
Are you gonna get weapon? You're getting weapons. Okay.
I would get
Weapons or
weapons because you
water
can then
and
use weapons to secure water and food.
Ooh, smart thinking.
Yeah, I'm gonna get weapons first. What did you do?
Okay, I'm doing weapons as well because that's good logic.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'm glad you approve.
Okay, so and this just escalated really fast. An infected zombie is outside of your bunker, your area.
We are survivalist preppers. We're doomsday preppers. We have a bunker.
What do you do? What do you do? Okay, do you try to talk to it? Do you ignore it? Do you stab it, or do you throw things at it?
Wait, did I not secure the weapons?
Like
I
mean, it says stab it, so I guess
stuff at it. I found a spear. That's what I have with the weapon cache. A spear, a slingshot. Go biblical on him with a slingshot.
go biblical on it.
Yeah, I gave him
I like the
life.
option of try to talk to it. That's my funny part.
So
Like,
I
what
know
would you
this is
say
a
to
zombie.
Yes, you know it's a zombie, apparently.
And I'm going to talk to a zombie. This is like a
maybe
warm.
Maybe some people would try to reason with it. I don't know.
This is a warm body zombie. It's just looking for love. What were the options? So I'm not talking to it. I'm not ignoring it. So I can either, what was it? Throw stuff
Throw
at it.
things at it. Stab it.
Or stab it.
Yeah.
I did find a spear. That's what we found. That's our weapon, a spear.
Stab it.
I am going to throw.
Oh, wait, you are throwing things.
I'm going to throw things. You don't want to get close.
Okay.
That's when you get bit, and then you're out in the first, you're not even past the opening credits.
True.
You can't even get through the intro.
Okay, so
that's
throw
what you do.
things at it. Okay, so you're throw things at it. I'm gonna put ignore it because why draw attention to yourself if you're trying to hide? And there's only one so far.
But wait, doesn't it see you? It's at your front door.
No, it just says it's outside. It doesn't say that it saw you or anything. So I'm guessing it's just kind of wandering around.
You
That's
ignore
my
your
bad.
problems, it just turn into bigger ones. So then leave a horde outside your bunker door. You're
I
not
mean,
ignoring
maybe.
a horde.
Maybe.
Or a horde.
Or maybe it
Herd
just
horde.
walked by if we don't make any noise or anything.
Yeah, you're
Right?
making a lot of assumptions here. You're making a
Okay,
lot of assumptions for the 3 to 6 people in your party.
Next, anyways, moving on. After killing, okay, apparently after
You killed it.
we
did it.
killed it. I don't know. After killing the infected person, see, look, one of your teammates get infected. How do you handle?
That's probably because they ignored it
situation.
and it stumbled upon them.
Okay, no matter what, we're gonna ignore that first part about after killing the infected person. Let's just say one of your teammates is infected. How do you handle the situation? Do you kill them? Try nursing them back to health, lock them up, leave them alone, and let them enjoy their last moments as a normal human before they change.
The last two sound like the same thing.
Oh my gosh, basically, kind of. Except, I guess in the lock them up, at least they're locked away. I'm guessing maybe leave them alone is like they just enjoy the last few minutes.
The view. I want to see the sunrise one more time.
That's
Just leave me here to die.
dumb, though.
What was it? The line in Game of Thrones? Give me something for the pain. I love you, life. So I can't cut off the infected limb. I'm assuming they didn't get cut or bit on a limb. See, I don't
They're
like these
just
options.
infected somehow.
And do I know that they're guaranteed to turn?
I think so. Yeah.
Well, I'm not nursing them back to hell. That's a waste of resources. And it's gonna, you know what? I'll just lock them up. Let's just lock them up.
Right, until they churn.
And see
kinda
what
deal.
happens. Lock them up. Are you doing that? Are you locking them up?
I would lock them up too. And then once they churn, I'll just kill them.
You won't ignore them?
I won't ignore them because then they'd probably just be really annoying. It'd probably be like rattling the cage or something. Okay, so the next one. You're running out of food and water. What do you do? Oh my gosh, the first one's aggressive. Eat the weakest team member.
Oh, right to cannibalism. Or to zombieism.
Try growing crops and collecting rainwater. Try, foraging in stores or nearby houses. Or starve.
Or starve.
Or starve.
Just give up. I'd want to do 2 and 3 at the same time, but I guess we got to choose one.
Right.
This is the outset of the apocalypse, right?
Correct.
I'll forage.
Forage.
There's probably still supplies around.
I would try doing that too. Because crops are going to take a while to grow.
Mm.
And rain, who knows if it's going to rain? Although in Florida it rains all the time, so I guess we'd be pretty solid in that aspect at least.
We just have to find arable land to grow crops.
That's a little tougher. But there's areas like Orange, there's areas. Okay. Your bunker is running low on supplies and the zombie population in your area is growing. What do you do?
Because we ignored that first one. It just propagated.
You stay put, head out for that survival colony your team member heard about, listen to the radio for updates or coordinates for safe locations, or go out with a bang and take as many zombies as you can with you. This is the last question.
Are we well provisioned where we're at?
Let's say yeah.
Then I'm staying put. First of all, I don't.
No. It says no. It says your bunker is running low on supplies.
Oh.
Sorry, and the zombie population in your area is growing. What do you do? Stay put. Head out for that survival colony your team member heard about. Listen to the radio for updates for safe locations, or go out with a bang. Take as many zombies as you can.
For the moment, I'm going to stay put because I've seen zombie shows.
What happens when you leave?
With our luck, it'd be like, oh, I heard about this great place called Terminus.
Oh my god,
or
so true.
Or the radio, those who arrive survive. Oh, that sounds like a great community. So I don't trust any of those people.
Until you show up and they try to
situation here. Yeah, I'm staying put for as long as I can, and then when we're desperate, we'll set out for refuge.
Okay.
What'd you
say? I'm gonna put. Come on, insert. Sorry, this thing's taking a while. I'm gonna put listen to the radio for updates on safe locations because that's basically insinuating that you're still staying put.
I guess. See, these questions, these answers are not well worded or well thought out. What would you put for the fifth one, the forage one?
The forage one?
Or did you say you're farming?
No, I said I'm foraging. I'm going to the
foraging
store
too
as well. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so apparently neither of us survived. We both died.
Says who?
It didn't like
BuzzFeed.
Says BuzzFeed. BuzzFeed says we died.
That's it. We didn't get any context of why we died. Is it because we stayed put?
It just says you won't survive, like blatantly. Just states it, and then has a picture of zombies coming to kill us.
I vociferously disagree with BuzzFeed. What does BuzzFeed know? Those editors are gonna be the first to get eaten because they're gonna trust some other community as a safe haven, and all of a sudden they're gonna end up on the barbecue.
Yeah, I have a couple of follow-up questions that I just came up with.
Okay,
that are fun. Where would you want to be if a zombie apocalypse hit? Like, where would your ideal
where's
place
my
to
bunker?
be?
Or are we talking like, on a beach in Malibu or something? earning 20%.
I guess where would you want to survive? Like, where would you go to survive, basically?
Probably the mountains somewhere.
Mm-hmm. I know specifically where I would go. Well, maybe not specifically, but I know like statewise where I would want to go based off of recent travels. So I would go to either South Dakota or Montana.
Mm. Well,
and the reasons why is
safe.
Because exactly
because it's sparser population, so fewer
sparser. Well, my things are sparser population, yes, but also like the areas that I visited, there's still teeming wildlife, and so you could still sustain off the land. I feel like better than places in other kind of thoughts where you would go like probably Wyoming is fine and stuff like that, but there just seemed so much more like wildlife and stuff that you could live off of.
Even though neither of us
Land.
have any survival skills.
No, not at all. But you know what? One can learn, right? Hopefully, maybe.
Part of our team will be the survivalist.
We'll find someone who can take care of
We'll
us.
find the Ron
and teach us
Swanson. Who did he play? Ron Swanson. Who did Nick Offerman play in Last of Us? He's a doomsday prepper. I can't remember his name. I just watched this episode last night too. Bill, yeah, Bill and Frank, I think, right?
Oh, so good. Best hour of television.
We gotta find our Bill for.
Yeah, we need to find a Bill who's nice to us though.
Although he's staying put, obviously, he's building like a town.
Yeah, and doesn't just want to shoot us immediately. Okay, yes, okay, so cool. And then lastly, like, what type of zombie would you want to be faced with?
The slow ones.
Mm-hmm. Like the Walking Dead ones that just kind of shuffle around.
Yeah. It wasn't too like some of the really older zombie films, like Day of the Dead, I think, and all the other of the Dead. I thought they were pretty slow too.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I tire easily and I have bad ankles. So I don't want to go up against any rage virus zombies or the clickers that are like they're like cheetahs hunting you down.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So no, I don't want any of those. I don't want anything to do with those zombies.
No, definitely not. Yeah, slow and like decaying would be great.
Yeah.
So The Walking Dead is phenomenal. I'll take that situation.
That's the zombie world I want to be in. The Walking Dead, minus all the horrible human beings that they encounter along the way.
I mean, yeah, that's the worst part, right? Is it comes down to the humans are the worst part in the end.
The monster was inside us all along.
Seriously. Okay, those are my fun questions.
The Walking Dead.
But on the flip side, so we failed a quiz. BuzzFeed quiz.
I disagree with that quiz.
But on the flip
written,
side,
poorly conceived.
It was poorly written, that's for damn sure. A lot of grammatical errors, which isn't shocking because of BuzzFeed. But on the flip side, we did an escape room, zombie apocalypse.
Wait.
Room.
Yes. Hang on, I got transitions.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Transition.
Yeah, so that's the end of our zombie quiz. So now we're going to, instead of an indie bookstore shout out, we're doing an escape room shout out. Here we go. Hang on.
Brains.
Our shout out is the American escape rooms, which are in several cities throughout the U.S., but they have some locations here in Orlando. And I found a zombie apocalypse themed escape room. It was the first time that I've ever done one. First time for you too, right, Joe?
Yep. First time.
First time. And basically the premise was evil scientists created, this strain of infected, just terribleness. Everyone got infected. Zombies were coming. Our goal was to break into a lab and create the
Cure.
Thank you.
Can I interject real quick, though? Yeah. Before that, part of the setup was the world is at war. And these scientists apparently were creating a zombie virus as a biological weapon.
There you go.
The way they were going to... There's no sides in this war. And purportedly it takes place on Earth. So they didn't put a whole lot of effort in the world building here. But these scientists, their big idea was to win the war, we're going to turn people into zombies. Oh, okay.
Right. Because that sounds right. They needed more willing soldiers, so why not just create dead-minded zombies?
Not necromancers. Come on.
So, and you only had an hour to break into the lab and create the serum that would save all of mankind. And so we went in, and I think we did pretty phenomenal, if I do say so myself, because we survived, y'all, and we saved the world. We created the serum.
And we only needed 5 hints to do it.
Hey, you only got 5 hits, though, from the Game Master. We exhausted them. And the Game Master told us that everyone basically uses at least 4 of them, if not all 5, to get through. And I want to say, he said we did a really good job, especially with that first room. We didn't use any of our hints in the first room. We got through, and then it got a little more complex. I don't do math, people. I don't do math. I don't do numbers. So the moment they started throwing numbers at me, I was like, I can't. I'm going to tap out of that.
I can twist the levers on all the padlocks and whatnot, but someone's to tell me what numbers to put in there.
Basically, yes. And then, someone over here, me, accidentally, hid a huge part of the puzzle unknowingly.
Unwittingly, yeah.
One of
We're
the
just
box
walking
lids
between the rooms.
dead.
Where is this? I think there's something on the floor you need to put right. Pick it up. Oh, and you got yelled at because you moved a cot that you weren't
I
supposed
did.
to touch.
I moved a cot, although it wasn't bolted down. They said you can't move things that are bolted down. It wasn't bolted down. I was trying to look for clues. Come on, man. It's an escape room. You don't know.
Yeah. I think maybe you kind of look like one of, some rocker about ready to trash some hotel room and they got worried. They're like, oh no, we better come in with the voice of God
just
and tell
gonna
her
start swinging.
put down the cot. It wasn't that bad. It wasn't like that. They were very polite.
They
you
were.
You don't need to move that. It's okay. It's not part of it.
There's nothing with the cot. Okay. So I think we did really good.
Mm-hmm. No,
Mhm.
for our first time, I thought
For
it
our
was really
first
good.
time, I think we kind of killed it. We did really good. And the difficulty was 4 padlocks out of 5. So it was clearly a difficult room.
There you go.
Would you do another one? Would you do another escape room?
Sure.
Fantastic. We're going to do Puppets Heist next.
You just want to
apparently an
throw a
escape
puppet
room with
over
a
a fence.
puppet.
That's all you want to do.
Yes, I just want to haul a puppet around in different escape rooms.
I just want it to be
Yes.
set to like Avenue Q or something. As we're
I
going
mean,
through the
maybe
escape
it's
room.
kind of like that. I don't know.
But no, I would definitely do it again. It was fun.
It was fun.
And now I have a little bit of an idea of kind of what you're supposed to do. I had a general understanding of it.
Yeah.
But to actually go through it makes it much more engaging, I guess. Makes it much more real. Despite the terrible story. Can you just like fix it up a little bit? Like, I don't know. Why is there a war? Why is
You
this
just need a little more background.
that one of the sides comes up with? Yes, just be like, I don't know. Flour was tainted with mutated fungal spores, and it was
There you
shipped
go.
around in our globalized world, and people ate it and turned it on. I don't know. It's so simple. It's just like war. What? Why is war?
No, just war.
God, y'all.
Just because.
What is it? So anyway, what was the name of that place again? Just the shout out.
It was the American escape rooms.
Yeah. So it was great. Great people there. A lot of fun. I think, decently
We signed the
priced.
wall. We
Signed the wall.
We signed the winner's wall. Yeah.
Sign the wall. Yeah. I think I'll make a Twitter post showing our victory picture, having saved the world. So if you're looking to thank someone for saving humanity, look no farther than the Pop Docs, because
You're welcome.
We did that. Hashtag you're welcome.
You didn't even know we saved
You
you.
didn't even know. We're so subtle about it all. So, okay. So that was our, that was our indie, that's not really indie, our escape room shout out.
Indie escape room.
Brains.
Is what we use to save humanity. So let's turn then to books we are reading.
Yes.
Deni, what are you reading right now?
So I am
Are you through the Shadow Rising?
I'm not.
We're
I'm
gonna-
still inching through it.
We're going to change the name of this segment to How Far is Deni into the Shadow Rising? And then we'll have a
I'm
drop where
getting
it's like,
through
the
it.
print is really small.
It is still really small, but in my defense, I did take a break and I read another book that I got, which I think I
This
actually
is why you're not getting
mentioned.
through it.
Yeah, probably. But also, I think I mentioned this in the last episode. It was a book that I got from the Country Bookshelf, the indie store that I visited in Montana. It was the Blind Date book that I got. That's called Patricia Wants to Cuddle, and it's by Samantha Allen, who's a GLAAD award-winning author. And the book was really fun. It was very just kind of like a fun horror kind of comedy satire book about like a lesbian Sasquatch
Was the
killing a
Sasquatch,
dating show.
was that Priscilla?
cast.
Was Priscilla the lesbian Sasquatch?
No, Patricia
Patricia.
wants to cuddle. Yeah, she's
And
the Sasquatch.
This is going to be a spoiler. So preparing everybody who's contemplating, all the listeners out there contemplating reading Patricia Wants to Cuddle.
Mm-hmm.
Did she cuddle? Did she get the cuddle she was looking for?
She tried to cuddle and in the process ended up killing people.
What? So she has lethal cuddles.
Well, I mean, the people didn't react very well to, a Sasquatch kidnapping them.
So Patricia, can Patricia communicate? Was
Not
it kinda
really.
like
No.
I just imagine like the Dr. Evil thing where he's trying to get Scott to give him a hug. And he's
Sure.
holding his arms out and he's got this like tear in his eye.
She doesn't communicate very well, let's put it that way.
Just
A lot of setup and a lot of focus it seemed to poke more fun at like influencers and reality TV versus what it should actually have been
Other
about.
than lesbian Sasquatches.
Lesbian Sasquatches and like queer discovery and stuff, you know.
So,
I don't know.
bottom line, though, is Patricia
It's
never
good,
got the
though.
cuddle
It's
she was
still
looking
good.
for.
It was still fun. Yeah, she did not get her cuddle, unfortunately.
Poor Patricia.
Poor Patricia.
So after all that, the book you're currently reading is still Shadow Rising. So that's the summary
Yes,
of
the same book. It's The Shadow Rising.
How far are you through that?
It's good. I'm enjoying it so far.
Can you estimate how many pages you have left?
A little more than half, but just like a little more. Nynaeve and Elaine are on their way to Tanchico, is how I pronounce it.
Mm-hmm.
So they're heading there to hunt down the Black Aja. Aja was the last part that I read.
Cool.
Which is kind of slow. It's kind of slow chapters. So yeah.
Well, speaking of big beefy books with small print, I am almost done with the fifth book. Well, not the fifth book. Actually, I just started the fifth book of A Song of Ice and Fire. I'm on A Dance with Dragons. Just finished a Feast for Crows. I was wondering, should I take a break? Because I've heard that this one's kind of a slog. And it's pretty beefy. The edition I have is over 900 pages.
That's beefy.
And I just thought, no, just get it done. Get up to the end of A Dance with Dragons. Hope Winds of Winter comes out soon. And I actually have a hot take. I think a hot take about A Song of Ice and Fire as I've been going through it and thinking about it.
Okay.
Would you like to hear my hot take?
Yeah, I want to hear the hot take.
My
The
Song
beefy
of
hot
Fire.
take.
Yeah, my fiery hot take is Storm of Swords, I can't even get the title right, is not the best book in the series. / not my favorite book in the series.
Okay.
Yeah. That was good. It's definitely up there among fantasy books.
Sure.
I think at the moment, A Clash of Kings. Can't even get the titles of these books right. But A Clash of Kings, I think, was my favorite. Yeah.
Okay.
And I have a lot to say as to why I think that, but we're out of time. So we'll save that for our George R. R. Martin podcast episode.
I was about to say our Game of Thrones theme
themed episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's a hot take, because I think most people think A Storm of Swords is not only the best book in the series, but like one of the best books in fantasy. Certainly modern fantasy, I think.
Okay, I can see that.
And I just disagree with it. It was good. Again, it was good. But yeah, so that's my hot take. There you go. Hot take. Anything else? Any other books you wanted to mention?
Those are the big things, I think.
Okay.
Covered a lot of zombies.
Yeah. So
Brains.
This was a fun episode. Hopefully the listeners that stumble upon us will have enjoyed the conversation as well. Take the quiz on your own as well. And the places where you can find us, as we'll get to here in a moment. Let us know if you survived the zombie apocalypse, or if BuzzFeed also bit you and you succumb to some fever, death, and decay. But Deni, where can they find our podcast? Where can they find our social media accounts and everything about the Pop Docs?
Yes, you can find our podcast anywhere you can listen to podcasts. Ta-da! And then you can also find us on Twitter at the Pop Docs, and also on Instagram at the Pop Docs Pod. And then also check out our YouTube, because there's extra content on there nowadays where Joseph goes through some book reviews, which are very fun and entertaining, if I do say so myself.
Yes, I'm getting better at graphics. And I got some movement.
I like your transitions. The transitions are good.
I got some good transitions in there. I keep saying that I'm going to do more than book reviews. So far, it's only been book reviews and reaction. I did a reaction video to Wheel of Time photos that came out a few weeks ago. So I definitely want to keep doing reactions to certainly the Wheel of Time as we get closer and closer. Hopefully that trailer that comes out, we hope, at San Diego Comic-Con. So yeah, if you're interested, check that out. Check out our YouTube account. All this information is going to be in our show notes. We'll also include the information for locals that might want to do an escape room for our escape room shout out in the show notes as well. Please, if you would like to, leave a review in the locations where you listen or get this podcast, if you would like. Also, if you want to hear some reviews and whatnot from our YouTube account, please don't hesitate to check out those videos, like them, and subscribe to the channel, because we will continue to post videos there as well. With that, any final words, Danny, before we close this episode of the Pop Docs?
I can only hope that we will never experience a zombie apocalypse because I'm pretty sure we would both die. That's okay.
Yes,
We would
BuzzFeed was
try our
probably
best.
right. Yeah.
It's probably right. Yes.
And with that optimistic note, or I guess on that optimistic note, the Pop Docs Clinic for this episode is officially closed.
Doodles.